Restri- audio, test. Blah, blah. Hello, audio test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tube audio test. 1. YouTube, hello. Awesome. Such a boomer. Oh boy. This multi-stream stuff is difficult. I can find the chat through here. That's cool. It's going to be both chats, I think. Which self the message. Cool, that's great. Hey Alexa, how you doing? So YouTube has about a 15-second delay. That's interesting. Twitch delay test. So Twitch has like a 6 to 7 second delay, and YouTube has a 15-second delay. Interesting. Audio hitting yellow. I can see both chats. I think that's good. Mr. Moneybags, yo yo. It's a clear mic. Hopefully so. I formatted this computer recently, so using the video broadcast to cancel noise and then a bunch of OBS filters. It's trial and error, just like this stream. Now, let's just launch and just move around the viewport, see if it's laggy or not. Yeah, first stream's going to be quite, I don't know, getting used to stuff. Super boomer with streams. But as the weeks go on, it will be a bit more mind. How laggy that is, low res or not. Self. See if how laggy bit rate is. That's not too. God, the YouTube blender grid barely shows up on that stream. See how Unreal does as well. What are we doing today? Probably good question. Probably a lot of well, it's 7:30, 8:30. So first 2 hours is just general game dev stuff. Today might be a bit slower than usual because I've recently formatted the computer. The last half an hour is feedback for folks that are priority first is Patreon folks. But if there's no Patreon folks, always happy to have a look at some stuff. But yeah, that'll be sort of the flow. Today, I just want to make sure the streams are working and good to go. I'm noticing Twitch is a bit higher quality than YouTube, but we'll have to see how stuff is when moving around in Unreal, if it's really choppy. On each one, and if it's a bit rate. But trying out Stream Elements beta multi-streaming, and just to get the best of both worlds. Hopefully the VODs will save to YouTube, opposed to Twitch. And then I just have to get used to looking at OBS. I noticed when I move, oh man, YouTube is so far behind compared to Twitch. I noticed when I move the viewport in Blender, the grid just melts. So we'll see, see how multi-streaming goes. Obviously, we want to try and hit both platforms, but if one suffers more than the other, we'll see what happens in the future. Well, YouTube usually buggy, yeah, probably, yeah. Case, you got Discord to share with. Discord is at the moment for let me just hide the name. The Discord primarily at the moment is a new thing for Patreon as part of the Patreon stuff. So you get Patreon videos and the Discord access. But in terms of like showing whip work, if you want to share it at the end of the stream, so the streams are 2.5 hours or plan to be, right? And then the last half hour of those streams is dedicated to giving feedback. So if anyone posts who is a Patreon, obviously the priority is there. If there is no up-to-date Patreon work, whoever links stuff in chat, I'll have a look at for that last half an hour. That's generally how it works, or it's how it's gonna work. This PC has been formatted recently, so it's going to be installing a lot of stuff for the first time. There might just be a lot of chatting and all that sort of stuff. I'm slowly learning Blender. I've learned and forgotten Blender so many times, but now I don't have licenses for anything anymore. I had to find a free video editor, which is using DaVinci. Blender, again, I keep forgetting that. I've changed the hotkeys to Blender this time to Maya. And then texturing is probably be Substance as well. So, yeah. I'm sure I can say your name right, Hossein? Hossein? No problem, man. Glad you like it. Next video is tomorrow. 20-minute video. Pretty much ready. I just need to do some final things. But it's going to be for Black Myth Wukong. Some cool breakdowns from that. Twitch defo wins. Yeah. You're the first Twitch message, Renzo. Everyone else is on YouTube, from what my OBS tells me. What up, John? John, how's that Q&A stuff? I know you asked about that brick. Did you manage to take a look at Vincent's stuff? You like the God of War video? Nice. Yeah, God of War's my favorite. Ah, nice. Yeah, topology is one of those things. Like once you get into it, you'll you just see topology everywhere eventually, and you just kind of know where to go with stuff. Going to compile basically everything, isn't it? The only thing with OBS is I can't really see. I guess it's a good thing not be able to not see your own view count. Not that the view count is really important past 1 or 2 people watching, but keep an eye on how the quality of the streams are. Yeah, Twitch definitely is much nicer. YouTube's on 1080p. Both on 1080p, but I don't know. Pronounced it well? I did something right for once. You gotta let me know as well when I move around on YouTube, because most of you are on YouTube at the moment. If the stream really degrades on my end, it looks like it degrades, and it's about 15 seconds behind. So it might be something for me to look into settings wise. If there is a difference between the bit rates on Twitch and YouTube. It's using the same OBS settings, which is again concerning one. Yeah. I guess you're seeing it a lot better on Twitch, right, Renzo, if you're watching both? Twitch seems fine. We've got 1 minute. I need to advertise out the strum. First stream of the start. Putting on coder on GPU helps. I think it may be. I think it. Yeah. All good. I'll have a. Hopefully, YouTube gives me a VOD today as well, which I can go watch back and make a decision on if I just move to Twitch from next week or if there's settings behind the scenes. But first stream, right? It is kind of what it is. We've got to test these things. I am a boomer. Yeah, there were some things. I don't know if it's because I've changed my key map on Blender. But yeah, I did some models a while ago and it went fine, but I've just completely I always forget it, but this time I'm going to be forced to do it. Hey, Michael, Ben on Twitch. But there was one thing I was wondering. Some Blender pros in the chat. Um, if it messes up now. I set a lot of hotkeys. There was one thing I was sort of curious about. I'm using the industry key map on this. Just a hotkey map. Yeah, I used Blender a few months ago and I was fine, but then it's been months and basically forgot everything. It's like HTML, just doesn't stick. There was something I was wondering about though. What's your favorite game? Oh, what a nice surprise. Hey, Jenny. What's my favorite game? Oh, God. Oh, depends. What do you class it as? Do you class it as like how long you've played or what something that resonated with you? That's a good one. Hmm. Favorite game? I don't really play many games at the moment. I play MMOs. I hop on an MMO for a few hours. MMO is probably the genre I've been to most. But they're dangerous because they can take up a lot of time, right? So, but Final Fantasy 14, can't go wrong with that. It's a pretty good one. Good old World of Warcraft as well. That jazz. What about you? What's your favorite game? For older games? 90 days to get used to Blender. That sounds about right. One of the things I'm going to get though for the streams is plasticity. Probably towards the end of January because next week's going to get quite busy. There is one relight I've got to finish off, which is on my hard drive. We'll get that on Unreal, and then it'll be plasticity and Blender. Try not to do lighting on stream too much because lighting is what I kind of do every day, right? Like doing the mentorships and Patreon stuff. So it'd be nice to learn some other stuff, like some substance as well. Sands of Time, yeah, yeah, I remember Sands of Time stuff. Oh, what was I gonna? Yeah, what was I gonna ask? This is what I was gonna ask. Any Blender pros, right? So I wish I had Maya, even just a trial of Maya. When you bevel something, you can set it not to affect the shape, so you just generate control loops from your bevel. Um, but most of the sliders I move here, like shape doesn't even do anything for me. So can you do that in Blender? Can you generate support loops from levels, or you just got to cut them in? Because I swear I've tried every option on here, and it doesn't play ball. I used to do it though. Hey, Thomas. This is where I can learn names now. Thomas or Thomas? What's the pronunciation on the first bit? Where everyone finds out how bad I am at saying names. But yeah, off stream, obviously the stream's once a week, so off stream, doing a lot of learning for stuff. But since you caught me on day one, you caught me on like the the prime potato day of setting stuff up. Um and making sure project settings are good. But that was just a quick question. I'll probably have to figure it out off stream as well. Once turn this into a Blender Q&A. Thomas, Swedish Tumas. Thomas Tumas. Piece loop cut. Okay. Shape to 1, segment 2. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to plasticity. I haven't done any modeling in a while. So also be looking into some substance designer. That's very close to lighting. Um, We're just branching out the skills, right? So lighting will probably be the minimal thing done on stream. But it's going to be pretty free flow. Just a good way to chat as well to people. Yeah. Add a segment and okay, cool. I'll give that a try. Let's just make sure this is set up correctly because it's a fresh install. Trace shadows. Yep. Has Blender become more industry acceptable? Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a meme really that people will say it's not for industry. It's just it's perfect. Loads of places use it. Loads of places that have an FBX pipeline will use it. You can ask as many questions as you want. This stream is pretty much community building as well. So go for it. Like I say, I'm going to be a bit slow on setting stuff up. Hardware ray tracing. Okay, so don't want hardware ray tracing. You may ask why. Because oh, okay. Twitch uses H.265, which is better at low bit rates. Okay, so is that just a limitation then, Pink Pocket? So if I multi-stream, is there essentially no way for me to get that high quality on YouTube that is higher quality on Twitch, or as I say, after today, if the multi-stream thing is too much hassle for the qualities, I'll probably just move it over to Twitch next week, but we'll see. I'll need to do a bit of research on if I can set YouTube separately from Twitch stuff as well. My audio is starting to glitch. Oh no. What's happening? I'm dying. I'm dying, bro. Test, test, test. Probably have to hold the mic like really close here. Once upon a time, audio test. Is it glitching out if I hold it here? Yeah, it's probably attack time. The good old attack setting if I move the mic a bit too far, if I get too chilled, get nuked in the audio department. Let me gotta catch up on the chat. I gotta practice, right? I'm not used to talking into the mic live. It's easier on videos. I'm hoping for more places to accept Blender. It's okay. So, how to answer this? There are going to be studios, right, that they might be centric Max or centric Maya and have a strict policy on not using another DCC. DCC means basically digital content creation, basically your 3D program or your program of choice for game art. In those cases, yeah, you just got to learn it. But in general, there are a lot of companies that as long as you are generating an FBX at the end of the pipeline, you can kind of use what you want. But not everywhere is going to do that. So you kind of have to be prepared. Like, yes, it might be a majority, but you may work at a studio that strictly uses Maya or Max or set dresses their stuff in Maya as like an engine almost. So just be flexible, I would say. But Blender's fine. I think Blender is... Honestly, I hear Maya and Blender more than I hear 3ds Max nowadays. So take that as you may, but that's just an opinion, right? So... Hey, Leah. Companies do not care what you use to model as long as they have the licenses, as long as you use their pipeline. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Pink Pocket. So I'm using this Stream Elements beta add-on. So I'll have to see if it lets me change both YouTube and Twitch independently. If not, I'll look into it. But we're on Twitch as well at the moment as well. So whatever your preference is on that. But as a first stream, yeah, the YouTube might be a little, it's very behind. On my screen anyway. I'm like 40 seconds behind, so I think it'll be good to see what's going on with it. Lots of questions, which is awesome. It's basically turning into a Q&A stream, which will be cool. But yeah, Leah, if you've got any updated images on Discord, you throw them in. I'll have a look at that later on. Or I can just look at your video if that's the latest thing you want to look at. Same for anyone else that is from on the Patreon. And then if we run out of Patreon, we'll just review the first person with a link. But we'll see. I have a workflow question. Yo, Tom, how you doing? Should you assemble your environment in your modeling package like Blender and then import to UE5, or should you assemble it all in UE5 from the beginning? It depends. So it depends where you like to do your cameras. So if you're really comfortable setting up a composition in Blender or Maya, you can do a lot of your block out there first and then import it over into Unreal as one mesh. You can also, well, at least from Maya, you're able to export cameras from Maya into Unreal and they appear in the same position. So if you can do that in Blender, you can get your exact same camera as well. I'm not sure if you can, but in terms of the block out, eventually you need to deconstruct your block out into a modular kit in most scenarios, depending on what it is. Unless it's a diorama. If it's a diorama that's super unique, sure. But if it's a very modular-esque sort of environment, you block it out, put it into Unreal as one mesh, make a modular kit from the block out, and just trace over your block out in Unreal. Because Unreal does like things to be split up from a rendering perspective for various reasons, like lighting, virtual shadow maps, culling, and all that sort of stuff. So it depends how much you want to replicate a game workflow with what you're doing, and how much flexibility you want in Unreal. Do you want to be able to move props in Unreal at the end, or do you want to always have to go back to Blender and move that asset and then re-update it in Unreal? So my recommendation is block out into Unreal, start deconstructing the block out into separate pieces, get it back redressed into Unreal by just tracing over your block out with the modular kit or the separate chunks. How good is Cinema 4D? I haven't used it, but a lot of people use it for product design. I had a talk with a lead 3D environment artist, and they also hired Blender artist and retrained them in Maya internally. Yeah, I mean, if you're using a 3D program 8 hours a day, it only really takes a few weeks to get used to using that. Change your hotkeys as well, like to match what you want to kind of do. But yeah, it doesn't take too long to relearn, and that goes for any order of software. You don't want to go into a company and say, I'm going to use this software, I don't care what you say, because Studio will just suplex you. Blender Unreal, yeah, Blender's free as well. Hey Matt, how you doing? Same as well, Matt. If you want to throw some images, because I know you've been working on some stuff in the last half an hour, I'll have a look at them as well. But yeah, I think I know we've spoken before about how important the block out is. I'm very big on block out. Spending a lot of time in the block out is key. Can you set Blender to auto update? I keep having to uninstall. I don't know. I'm kind of new to Blender, like really new. Hey Logan, how you doing, buddy? Best lecturer. So I'll pay you. I'll pay you later. Previously, studios used to make the whole scene with animations and stuff in Maya and just import and render in Unreal. Now, more studios are assembling in Unreal. Yeah, Unreal does like it if it's assembled into separate pieces. It's got many benefits from a technical and rendering point of view. Like instancing, put a candle into Unreal, duplicate it, it's an instance. Or if you put the 20 candles in Blender and it comes in as to Unreal as one mesh, it's treated a little bit. Oh, perfect. Thanks for that advice. That's exactly what I was looking for. Okay, so segment 2, shape 1. I mostly rely on. Have I missed anyone's message? This is like a new skill for me to learn. Keeping up with chat and trying to do stuff on the screen at the same time. It's insane. Mostly rely on substance painter and designers to make my models look good. Depends what you mean by look good. Because a model can look good in many, many, many ways. Especially with lighting. So, but I know what you mean generally. Textures do make it look juicy. Workflows are definitely evolving with Nanite and Lumen. True. Yep. One thing I was saying earlier is I turned off hardware ray tracing. So the way I work and the way you'll see when I do more tutorial-based videos is I'll turn hardware ray tracing off and I'll just rely on software ray tracing, because unless my purpose is to just create a visual, all the bells and whistles cranked up, I'll do that. But a lot of my work at the moment is to make stuff that runs. So, for example, hardware ray tracing is just simply too expensive to use in games. And actually, your default Unreal scalability is set to Epic. That's actually not suitable in most cases for a console game at 60 FPS. So what you actually end up having to do is if you want stuff to run at a console spec, you'll actually start using console commands and you'll start using high scalability and mixing between that. And that's actually what Epic recommend as well. So when you're moving between these scalabilities, just know that when you're on Epic and Cinematic, you're probably targeting really high-end PC specs with upscaling. I do a lot of my work now on high, and then I'll go to Cinematic for cinematic renders because highs generally will give you a good base for a lot of stuff. And also, did you guys know that there's a console variable add-on in the plugin section? It's actually pretty handy. So you go into here and you type in console variables editor beta and just activate that and restart Unreal. It can actually show you what's changing as you change the scalability settings because you just change them. You click high, epic, cinematic, and you don't really know what's happening. It's just a button and the viewport's changing. But if you turn this add-on on, right, you'll get this window. I remember where it is now. It's under one of these. Console. There we go. So it appears in the console variables, and I'll usually dock this up next to my outliner. And now what's cool about this is, one, if you are constantly doing console variables, like if you're constantly going in and doing r.tonemapper quality 1, if you do that, it will just store it up here. And what you can do is you can just save it as a preset. So if you're constantly doing viewport console commands to get a certain look or to debug something, you can just save that as a preset and reload it up every time. Like that. But also what's good about this is when you go into your scalability settings and you change, you can actually see with this add-on what is changing in the console variables to have this run at a certain scalability. And this is if you want to really get into optimizing Unreal as a, I guess, just to know about your optimization. Good question, Jan. Ideally YouTube, but I know the YouTube stream suffers when I move around. I'm going to look at that and see if I can get that running at the same quality as Twitch after today. But ideally YouTube, because there's going to be feedback at the end of the streams for stuff. But yeah, that console variable add-on is pretty cool. I've been using that a lot recently. Auto update via Microsoft Store for Blender. Is that what you're on about, Renzo? That's pretty cool if so. Separate parts of the mesh for rigging. Yep. I heard from a friend that for environment art, 3ds Max is like Maya is for character art. Don't know what that means. Environment art for 3ds Max is like Maya for character art. Are you saying as opposed to ZBrush for character art? They're all good. They can all do whatever you need them to do, is the honest question. So Renzo, the authorized Epic Games instructor with very good tutorials. Software ray tracing for Lumen relies on distance fields. And I forgot what it's called. Trace, it's called in here. Hash tracing, whatever it is. But yeah, I generally don't use hardware. Also, with hardware ray tracing, volumetrics don't really work. I don't know if it's a console variable that you need, but a lot of the time the God rays just die in your scene. So that is also pain. So the hero. There we go. So I do have a hard drive, which has some of the projects on. So because I've just wiped this computer recently in preparation for a new job. Might plug my headphones out temporarily and we'll put an Unreal project on. I'll show you a relight for this week. And then we'll focus more on modeling and prepping learning materials things as well. To work on a decent sized solar project, I'm torn between UE, Godot, and Unity. I have a medium range. Well, if you have a medium range laptop, when you load up Unreal, you go up to your engine, go up to settings, engine scalability, and just set your scalability to medium. You know, that's what these are. Scalabilities are, that's what your leads will set for certain hardware specs, right? So from top of my head, Epic is like high range PC. High is for console 60 FPS. Medium is probably going to be in between that, and low is going to be for like people that want to play on low settings. Whatever you want to call that. It is what it is. Right, let's get this hard drive out. Let's get some juicy stuff on here. Yeah, over the I was working recently. Let's let that work away in the background. No, that's in relation to whoever said they have a medium slash low end laptop. You can work on Epic if you want. That's perfectly fine. You don't. Yeah, I wouldn't really worry about like I worry about it because I'm like doing a lot of lighting, and lighting is more and more becoming like a very technical. It's the most expensive, one of the most expensive parts of a game, right? So kind of have to really be aware of kind of what you're doing in terms of just throwing lights in and not worrying about the final result. Oh god, chat's moving so quick. Have you used megalights? Not yet. I haven't done a scene with lots of light sources. But when I do, I will. But I don't think megalights is not going to be production ready just yet for most places. Which one is ES? ES? Which one is easy or ES? They're all pretty difficult to get into, but no, actually, they'll all feel difficult for the first few days, but then you'll just get into it afterwards. Yeah, for portfolio, Matt, just work on Epic, and then right at the end, put up to cinematic. Depends. If you want to render from the viewport, put up to cinematic. If you want to render from a sequencer, like I do, you just use movie render queue and set it up to take single screenshots. It's really up to you. Movie render queue is always a little bit weird with me. It's never exactly the same result as changing it to cinematic in the viewport. So take that as you may. So it's up to you. God. What are you playing? Honest, Alex, today the stream is figuring out if multi-stream is working well, what needs to happen on the YouTube side for the stream to work well, if it can work well with settings, getting software set up. It's a fresh computer. Putting some projects over. In the future, though, it'll be based more around Substance, Blender, general game dev, prepping learning materials. I'll do a little bit of lighting stuff today, but in the future, because I'm lighting every day, the streams will be focused more around stuff that isn't lighting, just to give me some, peace of mind. So this is mainly for like building community as well, asking, talking with you guys, learning stuff from you guys, you learning stuff from me if you have any questions, and obviously reviewing work at the end of the stream. Mainly review work from stuff. So today will be a bit slower than usual as I try to remember all my hotkeys and reset them up again. So well, I haven't used Substance Designer much. I only used it to bake, but it would be good as I used to make all my textures from ZBrush and then Substance Painter. So you sculpt a tile ball and you use Substance Painter, but it's time to, especially if my focus is lighting interacts with materials quite a lot. So the focus will be just to be able to have a basic understanding of Designer for authoring roughness and albedo with correct brightness. And then the modeling streams and the plasticity and the blenders to just get back into the environment art side and to prep stuff for YouTube to do videos about. So modular kits, stuff like that. I have a modular kit that's stuck in Maya that I need to find a way to get at some point as well. So lighting and texturing is rather interesting. I was looking into these and really like the way you can light objects as well as texturing. Yeah, lighting can make or break stuff, and it can change the mood completely, and it can be done pretty quickly on a dramatic scale, which is cool. Is Unreal better for bigger projects? Is it well documented? Unreal is the most documented thing out there. You will find all the documentation you need for it on the official site. Is it part of lighting artist's job to make skies? Depends. Dynamic sky or static sky? Because if it's a static sky, aka HDRI, it's pretty straightforward. And yes, you would just do that as a lighting artist. Or if it's a dynamic sky, it comes under usually I don't technical lighting, technical art. It's a lot more technical to do a physical sky that changes with time of day. Optimization on Unreal depends, Salty. I think there's still universal rules for all those engines if you're optimizing right in terms of what you throw into it. But Unreal has I'm not familiar with Godot and Unity, but Unreal has a lot of U modes and a lot of hidden console commands to help optimize stuff as well. Would be nice to have Substance Designer. Yeah, learning Substance Designer would be cool. Is Substrate going to replace the UED? I'm not familiar with Substrate. I've heard of it, but it's not something I'm up to date on at the moment. Naughty Dog podcast was awesome. Podcast? Oh, you mean, okay, the video, yeah. It's like, did I do a podcast with someone from Naughty Dog? Hopefully one day. Yeah, Naughty Dog are cool. They use Maya. Well, they used to use Maya a lot. I don't know what they use now. They would use Maya, and their viewport would be in Maya, and on the left they'd have their engine viewport. They would do stuff in Maya as their game engine instead of set dressing it in the engine. It was very interesting from that point of view. Used to have wireframe on Mouse 5 when I was using Blender more often. Oh, cheers, Alex. Yeah, these streams are just me throwing myself into uncomfortable scenarios, like using Blender, using Substance Designer. Obviously, today's a bit slower as we get set up. But yeah, that's connect with the community as a once a week thing outside of the channel. And honestly, answer a lot of questions and learn stuff from you guys, like with the bevel trick. I say trick, the bevel advice you guys gave me earlier. I'll have a lot more hotkeys set up by next week and quick menu stuff. But yeah, I can't justify paying £300 for Maya as much as I've used Maya for 12 years, but right now gotta save money stuff. Cheers, Alex. Cheers, Salty. Hey, Katie, how you doing? How's the hard surface going? Maybe Elixir. They were very Maya heavy, but it's 2025 now, right? So a lot of software is they're using whatever, right? As long as it's an FBX pipeline. £300, yeah, better PC. Yeah, I'm a Maya guy. It's always very tempting to just go and pay for Maya just so I can just do my thing, but I may as well learn Blender, right? Especially if I want to hop in and out of teaching and workshops. It's just easier with no license looming over you. But yeah, I think by the end of January, the streams will be pretty comfortable for basic modular kit stuff in here. Cool. So we've got something I was working on, a relight. We'll just use that as background noise. I'm just going to go and extract it. This will probably be my last relight personal work wise, as the focus will be doing this sort of stuff in the future. Not a sci-fi sniper. Nice. Use plasticity, Katie. That's something I'm going to be using on these streams. Learning plasticity. Looks mental. Yeah, if you're not a student and you don't get the educational license, it's not worth paying 300 a year if you can get Blender. That is true. So buying Substance Designer and Painter, especially the Steam versions if they're still available, sure. I mean those are the main things to texture in. Buying Marmoset as well can be good if you're into props. It's pretty straightforward for multi-streaming, which is obviously outperforming now. I'm trying to learn Maya and Max at the same time. Oh no, that's danger. learning multiple 3D DCCs at the same time. That would explode my mind. Did you try Instamat? I gave it a chance Instamat. No, not heard of Instamat. Is it what is it? Is it a free alternative to Substance? Have I used USD? I haven't. I know what it is, but I haven't used it. Cool. That's unzipped now. So let's close Unreal. But yeah, you get to see it. Like I have very little to no experience in Blender, so as we go along in the weeks, I'm trying to gonna make some stuff. Basically, gonna be making stuff in Blender to drive YouTube or Patreon and stuff like that. So modular kits, textual density frameworks. So um, it's just think of the streams as like good background noise for discussions and questions more than anything. EMC free. Uh, disable it for now because I don't think I'm logged into the right account. Yeah, plasticity looks good. I was doing I did a workshop at staff in December, and Stephen showed plasticity. And it just made me sad. Made Cathedral in Blender. I think it's good, but I realized I want to make small changes. Um, Modular. If you have 120 meshes, hopefully they're not all unique meshes. But that's one of the benefits of changing stuff in Unreal after you've put it in Unreal. As long as you stick to the grid and you work in a fashion that can snap to get around or it's arrayed properly, you can change without having too much hassle. Mixer. Oh, Mixer. I forgot about Mixer. Oh, yeah. Houdini is the goat. Matt, you still in here? You should see the stuff Matt does with Houdini. I don't understand it at all, but it's like it's voodoo, absolute voodoo. Um, I need so there's a really good fog plugin. I always forget which username I'm logged in on, right? Because this is one username. I think I don't know if anyone's ever done this, but at some point in my career or life of using Unreal, I had two Unreal accounts, but I brought asset packs or add-ons between both user accounts. So it's like I don't have my fog plugin because I'm on the wrong account, but I have things that I've bought. Absolute potato energy from me. See if I can get the right account. There's a fog. There's an add-on. I don't really do much with Unreal add-ons. I don't. I think they can be dangerous for lighting, especially. But there is one add-on. It's called Screen Space Fog Scattering, I think by Dimitri. It's a goat add-on, absolute goat add-on. I love that add-on. Uh, oh god, let's see if I can get the right account so I can get the right add-on. Otherwise, if you use that add-on, you'll never want to use Unreal's height fog again. By default. See, I always forget my passwords. Sign in with Google. My New Year's resolution is to learn Houdini. Houdini's scary. Matt, he did a mentorship with me, and he was just showing me all the stuff he did in Houdini, and I was like, oh my god, this is like amazing. How do you do this? Here we go. So yeah, this add-on, um, This add-on is great. It injects into the existing height fog and volumetric fog of Unreal, but it just scatters light in it as if it would in the real world, and you can change it with console variables, the intensity. It's not that expensive. It's got a little bit of an expense to it, but you will not want to go back to the normal height fog after you use this. So I do recommend that add-on. I don't recommend most others though, because they're way too expensive. So installed. I think we're installed, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's work on this relight a little bit. Get this wrapped up so we can focus on 3D stuff in the future. Houdini Unreal Peril. Yes, they do. HDA stuff is yeah. If you can do Houdini and you can do like I think they used a lot on Stalker 2. There's a lot of art dumps from Stalker where just using Houdini to generate brick kits that damage and chip away, and it's like it's crazy. It's crazy good. New Year resolution: try and use Unreal Engine. Yeah, yeah. I guess you don't really go into it too much as a hard surface artist, right? I live in Unreal as a lighting artist. Always stuck in Unreal. That's good, Elixir. Yeah, have you got like this? The part of this stream stuff is for me to try and learn new stuff as well. Oh yeah, the Stalker stuff is it's all over ArtStation. There's one chap he literally calls himself a brick artist, which is hilarious. But yeah, senior brick artist. So I think a lot of these are there's somewhere in here where there's someone absolute Houdini goat that is generating a lot of this stuff with Houdini. So yeah, any Stalker 2 art dump stuff. Yeah, Marmoset. Marmoset's it's really leveled up, huh? Really doing some good things. Hey man, how you doing? Huh? Been a while. Thanks. Oh no, crashed. Start in unlit mode. Was a good start. Let's go into albedo only mode. Try and reduce our ability to not crash on the level. Scalability down. Just is a big level to be fair. corrupt. As Ambergen UE5 VDBs. I know VDBs. The word smoke fire. Ambergen. It's for like fire. Sparse volume textures. I'm not familiar with those. Google is my great friend. This how to hotkey wireframe. I will eventually learn to love the 3D cursor, but coming from Maya snapping to Blender's, it's a learning curve. Let's just say that. Nathan, how long did it take you to go from Maya comfort to Blender comfort? Did you change the hotkeys or did you use the default hotkeys? Oh, cheers, Marcus. I'll give that a check out. Three months for Renzo. Cool. Yeah, does this work? Shit, that's the review work stream. Funky ass level. The fog. I ain't using those Blender hotkey. Middle mouse button. Gonna cry, bro. I'm committing myself to the industry key map and the quick menu. Cannot not rotate without alt. Right. Look, the reunion. Staff's uni reunion, bro. So, yeah, console variable is great because look, I've got these console variables I saved. It just does a bunch of stuff with the fog, and a bunch of the scalability, especially with TSR. TSR is like monstrous. You don't have to type the same console commands in every time. You can just, set them in here with what you need to do. That's true, Ben. Yeah, yeah. If you Google something, yeah, hit Z. Hit Z to do this. It's like, ah, shit. So this will be like the last relight for personal work once it's done. Probably going to wrap it up in a few days. And then streams will be Blender, Substance, all that sort of stuff. Because lighting is obviously going to be doing it every day and with mentorships and stuff. So I don't want to burn out. But this will probably be the last personal piece for lighting I do in a while. So Need to set up the cameras for this. Probably set up 1 or 2 cameras now, but still need to finish off using Blueprint on some stuff. Is this? Yeah, University of Staffordshire. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can't call it Staffs Uni anymore, Ben. No, you can't be calling it Staffs Uni. It's University of Staffordshire. It's like saying Voldemort. Gotta change the ordering around. Big up rebrand. Uh, Stafford. Stafford. Stafford's the old campus. Cult logo. Yeah, Hearts is good. Um, Staffs is starting to. It's always been good, right? But it's starting to at least get out there more. Um, in reputation. So, but yeah, it's down to the person, really. You're like Ben and Nathan here, just live and breathe 3D whilst you're at university. That's when you get your 80 level articles after 2 years. But if you just work 2 hours a day, you're probably not gonna, as good as the course may be, you're probably not gonna get where you want to go, right? So um, it's down to the student, really, within the structure they're given. So at least that's my take on it. The problem with this is I can't. I have to do things 2 windows. Right, you transferred to games art. Superior. The superior to games design. That's right. Yes. Uh, is your little brother going to do the staffs course? Oh yeah, Mr. Moneybags. Don't work on a game that you would love to play. You will you will you won't want to play it. You will not want to play it. 37 field of view. Don't think so. How old's your brother? You just look exactly like you. It's just like another clone. Small Ben. I remember your Bloodborne scene every week. You remember that? He's not a 5 foot version of me. But it was interesting going back to an open day as someone that's has done it all and has gone through to industry and all that sort of stuff. Uh, what would you recommend to a complete beginner in environment art? Where to start? What to focus on? If you're completely brand new, Obladi, probably want to learn about. Well, are you new to environment art or are you new to 3D? Because there's kind of two separate categories, right? If you're new to 3D, you should start with 3D. But if you have at least a year in 3D and then you're doing environment art, then it's a different one. Yeah, Ben, remember when you wanted to make it playable? You were, I'm gonna make it playable. I was like, no, don't do it. It's too much. That was a good scene though, man. It was a good scene. Did very, very well on Art Station as well. Really good breakdowns. Well, hey, Abbas. Dude, what did you post recently? It was some sort of weapon, right? It looked pretty cool. Okay, so you've got experience in 3D, but you need to environment art. Okay, you probably want to first work with the concept of 5 seconds left. Work with the concept of moving UVs outside the 0 to 1, and learning to work with modular kits, not just props. So you probably want to pick something really basic that can be broken into Lego kits and make that into a modular kit. You probably want to join Beyond Extent, Beyond Extent. Probably the best place to learn just pure environment art, with workshops and stuff, and pick a small project, simple project, nothing too overscoped, and use that as your modular kit that you're going to do with trim sheets. That would be the first step. So the community side and then the project itself. And watch my videos. Watch my videos about trim sheets. Um, yeah. Make a trim sheet, a random trim sheet before you do anything else. Just learn how to make it tile. Should be good. EBH. Totally getting distracted by. How do people do this? How do they stream and work? What's a good way to add detail to a modular model? I want to add where. Yeah, yeah, salty. Salty sandwiches. What is a salty sandwich? Because I guess technically, if you have tomato sauce on a sandwich, that's got salt in. I don't imagine myself buttering bread and then spraying salt on the bread. I don't know. Maybe that's something in the south, but I don't know. You just totally took me on a tangent. Um, but anyway, to answer your question, what's a good way to add detail and variance? I'm assuming you want to add unique detail and variance to a model that looks generic because it's built out of a modular kit and a trim sheet, right? You got a few ways to do it. Watch the Assassin's Creed video for general theory, but you got decals, yep. Vertex painting, yep. Set dressing, but also RGB masks, which is a bit more advanced. I don't 100% know if you would use an RGB mask on a modular wall. It's usually, I don't know, it depends, because you got lots of walls, but vertex painting and decals is your first step, and then RGB masks as the last final step, as a more advanced thing. Because RGB masks technically give you per pixel detail, whereas vertex painting is based off the mask, generic mask you're using to blend the textures. So it's like a trade-off. Maybe I can ask Ben and Nathan, in your rough experience, what do you think the vertex painting versus RGB masks? Obviously, use them together, but which one is generally more prevalent? Or are they just both equal for environment art? Abbas uses Blender. Yeah, Abbas is leveling up. Abbas, are you working at War Dog yet? When are you going to work at War Dog? Your videos of trim sheets have been useful. Cheers. Cheers. Just practice. Make a very simple trim sheet with a basic shape, and then you'll be good. There he is, Tanox Branner, the legend, the king, my brother in lighting. I need to order a key light, have it up here. Boom. And I need to fix the YouTube stream, and then we should be good. More people are watching on YouTube though, so maybe YouTube, if one has to die, maybe the Twitch dies. Sorry, Renzo. But we have to fix YouTube. The YouTube streaming, as soon as I move, the YouTube pixelates like I'm in witness protection. Dude, my working speed is like 5% with keeping up with people. I need to learn how to and chat at the same time. 50 frames, you're 48 frames, and that's making me very angry. Should be 100 to 150. So what I'm doing is I'm setting up shots. Each shot is going to be a screenshot. And if you wanted to render the same 7 shots from different camera angles, you can set these shots up and then use Movie Render Queue to do them all. If you, especially if you were doing video as well, right? A sequencer with shots is a really nice way to do renders because it's non-destructive. Vert paint is great, but requires a lot of verts to get good resolution. Watch Elliot's vid on Naughty Dog wireframes. Oh, here we go. See, he's, I'll pay you later. Need small USB monitor for. Oh yeah. Right now you're on the second monitor. Both are great. RGB masks for production. Can have a shitload of texture overhead. That is correct. Yeah, it always seems a bit more effort to set up an RGB mask because it involves all the texture maps. But do you find there's a limit with RGB masks depending on the scale? If you have a really big object and you have an RGB mask, if you show too much detail through the mask, your texel density might suffer. I guess the mask itself isn't going to be texel density, but the textures in the mask will. But just how much that mask can sell itself, depending on the scale of the object. I can't comment on YouTube. Most of the chat on here are coming through YouTube, Leah. So it might be something on your end. Do you see a chat at all? Is it grayed out? Check on my end. Yeah, there's definitely some chats going on in there. Move my camera around a bit, just see how, if YouTube scuffs up the, how bad it scuffs up the stuff. Right. How delayed am I on YouTube? Holy crap. Okay. 25 seconds. I'm in the future. I'm in the future. But you can imagine, you just type in on YouTube and you got to wait for me to answer 40 seconds later. Is that just YouTube streaming? Is that how it is? Is it really that delayed? Am I missing a setting? Why? What's going on here? Garbus, you'll get there soon. Get there soon. Yeah. Modular. In-engine efficiency. That's it. Grayed out. I don't know why it's grayed out, Leah. Oh yeah, Salty. Don't make stuff with one mesh. That's danger. It's danger territory. For environments, split as much up as you can. Yeah, damn, bro. YouTube with the 40-second delay. You just type a message, you just sit there staring at the screen. Like, oh, he'll catch up eventually. Oh shit, he missed the question. No, got another 40 seconds to go. We'll see. Maybe next week it'll just be Twitch. We live and learn. We live and learn here. Letting up is great for efficiency and mental health. Do something fun. Let's find a render for at least something, right? That's why I like sequencer. It's just pretty chill. You just non-destructive on everything you. Light mapping. The day I light map is the day I die. Never doing light map UVs again. Never. I'll never go back. You can't make me. Sing here. Why am I derping up? Okay, that's. You can't make me. I don't mind unwrapping. I like unwrapping in Maya. I don't think I'm gonna like unwrapping in Blender. Hey, there we go, Leah. What was the issue? Real estate, 4K monitor. Oh, plugin. Fair enough, fair enough. Dude, I did something in but when I was using Blender a bit more often, like early last year, I remember to straighten I had to do some really crazy something really crazy to straighten an unwrap. I had to like grab a single face and straighten it so that Blender would straighten the rest of it. Like it wouldn't do it automatically. Some madness. Absolute madness is what it was. Like Laws von Trier. Is Laws von Trier? I don't know who he is. I'll accept it. Yeah, I'll probably use an add-on for it. UV Pack Master. Well, it's for packing. I don't know what the add-on is for. No, I know what Rizom is, but I've never used it. It looks good though. I'm just the lighter. I'm just the lighter, bro. But I've optimized the lighting for this. It's all good to go. I think from memory, from when I last traced, it was 60, 70 FPS, 1080p. No upscaling though. I didn't have that ready yet. What's the best matte cap for Blender? Default gray, a bit of red, good old shiny car red. What are our thoughts? What do we like to model in? Obviously, it has to be shiny. Can't be dry. What is the go-to? Power plant one I bought ages ago. Um, like this will be good for holistic lighting. I had to convert it all to nanite though because it wasn't a nanite scene, but it broke the terrain. So go and redo that. Yeah, this has had a fair bit of optimization put into it. Although it's a bit laggy because I've got so much stuff open. I'm just lighting it chaba. I am just lighting it as a relight project. But I will be making stuff throughout the year as we go on. Oh yeah, this did used to run, and then I added volumetric clouds, and then obviously volumetric clouds just killed it. 24 milliseconds, so that obviously ain't going in the video. So without the volumetric clouds, we're pretty Gucci though. Yeah, there we go. So that's a bit more normal now. Clouds are expensive, man. Eventually there'll be a video. We'll run through the level, do a bit more work on the lighting, get the blueprint set up on the lights, and then good for that relight. And then we'll work on Blender and Substance stuff for the other streams. Welcome back. What refreshments did you get? Who the fuck is this guy, man? Hold on, how many people? Wait, how many people are in? I gotta remember how many people are in both chats. What's the most charming picture I can find of him? Let's see. 68 years old. You saying I'm 68? How dare you? Okay, let's ask the chat. Wait, no, that's the wrong link. What the fuck? Go away. Is this me? Is this who I am? Is this true? Oh, I gotta wait 40 seconds for you guys on YouTube to catch up. Okay. How dare you? How dare you say this is me? How dare you say this to me? Right, you say this doesn't look like me. Okay. What about? Well, I got another one for you. What about this one? Does it look like me? How dare you, Renzo? Unbelievable. So I'm still just comparing how Twitch deals with gameplay versus YouTube. It's like a mirror. There it is. Hagrid. Polly Hagrid. Yeah. That's what I am, Polly Hagrid. It is getting to 9 o'clock. Still got an hour. Wait, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. Yeah. I think I will look at some work earlier for this week. So let's look at the Patreon. Leah, you still here? What's the PS1 Hagrid voice? Oh, Leah, there you are. Shall we have a look at? Well, I know you got the video, right? Are there any shots you want to throw in before I go convert to work review webcam mode? Look at that! Boom, boom. I'm here, and now I'm there. Boom. Alrighty, so. Yeah, let's have a look. Check the mirror. Oh, I can't check the mirror because it wants me to log in. If I can, well, I'm logged in. Let's have a look at the block app, and then we'll see if we can get onto the mirror after we have time. Blocking too much with that. We can go back to corner cam if not. Yeah, see, we're getting production value now. So, firstly, doing a video so early is cool. What's your So what are your goals with it? Because before I look at the mirror, we just take it at face value. It looks like you're going full in. You want to make a level. Like we're not talking like a render of a single angle. We're talking like a full on level, right? So the rules change a little bit in terms of what you want to do with it. So far, space feels pretty good. Just gonna keep watching. See if I can get on that mirror while that plays. Sign in. Okay, I'm on the mirror. I'm just gonna hide the hyperlink. Oh yeah, the mirror looks good. So I'll put this mirror up afterwards. You've done a lot in the block out so far. Like you're running around a lot of stuff, which is awesome. Interiors as well. Oh, wait. We underground? Oh, shit. I want to create a level where the player can go navigate in place, overcome obstacles by finding other ways to access the area. Big important thing is so the big feature of this is that you can go inside as well as outside. Okay, and you want multiple routes through a lot of levels. This place looks fun to explore. Yeah, yeah. So what are the obstacles they are going to need to overcome? Because in the block out, maybe it's worth if you're basically taking this through like a gameplay pipeline, right? So maybe well, my first point of feedback is probably to start injecting some basic color into the block out, but also if you have these obstacles where it's the main point to evade them with these different routes you've got, maybe for the block out we make those obstacles like red, just so it's really, really obvious as part of your research and design process. I'd probably start to introduce either a grid texture or some basic color to your block out. There is level designers do this all the time. There's I don't know if it's an add-on or if it's a texture. It's like a white grid that gives you measurements of stuff. You could either use that, or you could just put some flat colors onto your scene, because that will, wood, brown, stucco, cream. That will help give you some separation as well. But I think for sure the obstacles, let's make them obvious in the block out, make them red, just so we can, test it. I'm not sure what the obstacles are at the moment, at least in the video. Maybe those round cylinder things that are in the path. I think this tunnel as well, when you go into this tunnel in a moment, it would be good to squat. I would probably once you flesh this out a bit more, you're probably going to want to have a post-process volume in the tunnel that just lifts up the exposure a little bit so it doesn't get too dark. Even if you're going to put lamps in there, you're probably going to want to lift that exposure up a little bit with a post-process, a separate post-process to the main one. The obstacle here is the block path where you have to go through the tunnel. Yeah, let's try and make that block path or whatever's blocking it like a really strong color for now. I think introducing color to this block out will be really good for multiple reasons as well. For the lighting, it helps a lot because your lighting now is going to bounce into those colors and bounce off them. Now this looks like an obstacle. Let's make that red for gameplay purposes. Get over to the mirror. So create a closed level for an RPG focused gameplay. Key focus, level based towns, open world, mechanics in nature, non-linear gameplay, exploration. You can enter the buildings. You said a big part of it was entering buildings. Okay, cool. Some areas are blocked, needs to find a route. Video game mechanics, Skyrim, it's on a Project Blackout. I'm not familiar with Project Blackout. I'm familiar with Dishonored though. Stylized, okay, realism. Maxim Dorokov. Goat. Absolute goat. Okay, mirror is nicely laid out. pretty early on for to really give any topology feedback because it's in the blockout stage. So what I would do is, I think you have some over here, right? As long as you use research to justify your topology levels, it also depends on. People get motion sick. It depends on if you go stylized or hand painted. I think you probably, so you've got this stylized, you've got this realism. Which one are you leaning more towards? Because I think ironing that out is gonna be key before you do any more. You move into any art direction stuff. The stylization can be in the block out as well, in the silhouette. So not just the textures. I think stylized is good. I think it'll be simpler for you to play around with. Like, it's a really big level, right? So stylized is gonna be a bit more accessible for you trying stuff out that isn't as destructive in terms of workflow versus photoreal, because you could just spend so many weeks just focusing on a single texture. Whereas with stylized, you can be a bit more broader, especially if you're using gradients and stuff like that. Plus, Stylized Station has a lot of tutorials on the actual material work. One thing you want to sort of look at is where does the stylization in the model, where is the stylization in the geometry, and where is it in the texture? So in the geometry, are you going to have wonky roofs? Is everything straight? Are you breaking up 90-degree angles with some sort of shape language? There is stylization in the geometry that you need to identify. Chunky bevels, thin bevels. And then there's the textures, right? Is it flat? Is it painted? Is it using sort of Dishonored style shaders? Because there's a lot of these art styles have different workflows that you have in here as well. And some of these are concept pieces as well that may not directly translate into what you want to do with games. Have you got, is there you've got Maxim Dorokov, you've got some 3D stuff here. I would probably put, that's topology complexity. You probably need a few benchmark standards of 3D gameplay, game level stylization. How does it actually look like? Stylized Station will have some good ones. I think that one is a good one there. There was one recently that looked really nice. I remember giving some feedback on it. Actually, it was is it Poya? No, it wasn't Poya. It was so do you go for this sort of stylization? I remember I gave Manuel some feedback on this, and I got to look around his scene, and a lot of it is, again, it's the lighting, right? A lot of the materials are they're kind of flat shaded with sort of dark and light, basic sort of values popping in and out. And obviously the sky as well. So you got to decide on like what sort of stylized you want to go for. Like, are you sculpting the stylization, or is it purely low poly? So a lot of these things will dictate where your stylization goes. So you might want to spend a few weeks researching your art direction on a single area as well. So I think because you've got this big level, you've got a few strategies, right? So once you've ironed out the block out a bit more, get rid of some of the floating bits, make sure some of the stands go down into the floor. I know some of them were floating. you probably want to take a corner of that city that you've got. So take a smaller section once you've got the bigger level in place and just work that little section up. And once that's good to go, you can just propagate it out towards everything else. And because it's going to be quite modular and tileable, even if it's not modular, if you have a lot of tiling materials, it's going to cover a lot of the same areas like the rooftops and the wood beams and stuff like that. So if you can get that one section right, you can propagate it outwards. Now, when you do that, it's up to you. There's probably still quite a few more hours you want to spend in this block out phase. Like I said, the obstacles are red. Keep testing the pacing. Even send it out to your friends and have them play through it and see if they get what it's about or if they know there's obstacles there. Because if you're working on it all the time, you might get tunnel vision on it, but as soon as you have someone test it, they might not even know there's obstacles there, right? So that can, again, testing your block out will give you that opportunity when you're doing stuff. Well, testing is so undervalued. Like the ability you and feedback you get from testing is, it's great. So that would be one. And with this level being so big, I would, after you finish your block out and you've done the iterations on there, and you've changed the pathing through the level, if you feel like it takes too long to get somewhere, I would take maybe one section and start dressing it up. It depends if you're going modular or not. If you're going, each building is going to be a prop, or if the whole floor is going to be one mesh, or if it's going to be in chunks. Because right now it's BSP, right? Going into one another, like a level design sheet. So depending on if you're going to make that modular or not, that's also going to take a bit of time up as well. Because what you'll need to do is you'll need to make your modular bits and start tracing back over your block out to a degree, which will take a bit of time. But once you do that, your level becomes so clean to work with. It's quite satisfying, especially with this stuff. Yeah, maybe that hole in the ground, maybe that's like you got those wooden lifted up sort of attic doors. Maybe there's a bit of light shining out of it that gives you a hint to go inside and go down. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, you're definitely going to want to post-process down this corridor to bring up the exposure a little bit, which will be quite functional to the gameplay as well. Let's say with the lights as well, if you're going to have it at daytime, you either want to turn the lights off or they need to be a bit darker. Because even though it's stylized, the lamps wouldn't emit that much light. Even if you were going a bit more outside of the rules of physically based lighting, still a bit too much. So I'd tone that down a little bit as well. Big agree on taking one building up to the quality you want to achieve everywhere. Learn the hard way at uni while trying to make a playable environment. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like you can try and work on it like a painter where you're doing everything at once, but you'll find that you'll spread yourself quite thin. But if you do focus on that one corner and bring that up to a really beautiful standard, the amount of confidence you'll have going into the rest of the environment, like it's almost proven at that point what you need to do. So that's the strategy I would employ for this. Once you've ironed out the block out with the pacing and whatnot. Check the scale of the lamps as well. They're quite big. Might be intended, but just be wary. And also, yeah, you're going to want to generate like these types of stylized materials, whether it's flat colors or a bit of painterly stuff on it as well. Because these will be the bread and butter of your scene. This is what goes over most of your scene, right? Tileable textures. Well, So yeah, a few more 3D examples from ArtStation to help you sort of start to map how this stuff will look in 3D versus how it looks in concept. One thing you can do right away is you can start putting flat colors onto your block out without any texture detail, just flat colors. And that will already start to get you some stylization in the scene as well. Good research, though. Good research. And I like the general feel of the level at the moment. So it'd just be about. It's a big level, so it is going to take you. It feels like what's your time frame for how long you want to be spending on this? Because I have a general idea how long this would take to a stylized standard, but I want to know what you are estimating yourself for this project completion. Also, Matty, if you're still in the channel, if not, no worries. I'll take a look at your Fig Jam and your latest render as well. I have time. How much time though? So is this a hobbyist project or is this yeah, I do notice you spend a lot of time on the Discord on your project, which is awesome. But having a general plan of when this will finish will be really key for you. So I don't know if you've done any estimates on this stuff. If not, it is the more nitty gritty side of an environment, but it's really important. So otherwise you'll just get stuck on the void. So for me, I think to take this through to completion with everything that you're doing with like the 6 mini areas and all that sort of stuff, yeah, you definitely want time estimates. You want have you got an asset list as well? Have you got any sort of data for what the meshes will be called and how modular they'll be or how long they'll take? Because that I know that's more like at the boring side, but it's really helpful. It gives you a strong spine for the level. So what I would imagine is every level in here, every building is separated into a task on something like Miro or Notion. Is linked to some reference of the general look for it. It'll just make things way easier because that's how it'd be in a game, right? All of these would have asset names. I think one building per modular would be good for now. I wouldn't make a super fine detail kit to make up all the buildings. For now, I would just have like one chunk per building. And then you can focus on the smaller modular bits for the dock. And then if you need to split the buildings up more later on, sure. But I think the buildings being a big modular chunk will be good. The dock being in 2 to 4 meter splits will be good as well. The bigger the modular kit, the better when you're starting out, is my opinion. And then finer kits, the more environments you do. But yeah, get yourself an asset list. So you can do it on Miro, and some people use Notion. It's just a list of every asset. Building Tavern 001, Tower 002, Dock N01, Dock Mid, Support 001. Whatever the naming convention is, just get every asset that is going to make up that scene in a list. Because once you find that stuff in a list, you'll start to be able to break down what's going to be modular, what isn't. So a list is going to help you either way. I don't really have any asset lists on me, I think. You can make them as bare bones or as pretty as you want to. Like, I usually make my asset lists look quite visual in Excel, but I don't think don't know if I have any examples of an asset list. Hey, Andres, how you doing? I'm saying your name right? EMC 3D planning poker. I don't think I have any asset lists at the ready. That's what I was thinking, yeah. Uh, Although we can just probably quickly do this. Let me just load up. A very bare bones. All the artists hiss, hiss. Oh, it's not in dark mode. I don't know how to change it to dark mode. I'm sorry. Everyone's looking away from the stream. You blinded me. How do you change this to dark mode? I'm going full producer here with the the white mode of the screen. Just you even get dark mode on Google Sheets. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to have like an audit of everything going into your scene. This is really like the planning on blockout is really key to succeeding in environment art, as opposed to just going through the process. So you're on the blockout stage, which is good. We just need to reinforce your planning stage. So you would have like, I don't know, doc 001. Now, if you can do this on Miro, you could put a picture of the blockout of the asset next to the thing, like if you want to. That would make it even more visual. So you have the name and what the asset is. That just helps give it some context outside of just a name for what it is. So let's take this one. We'll call this building tavern. Building tavern, building tower. And you could have an image of it next to each one. That will really help you practice how stuff would work in a studio, especially if you're using without source. But the main exercise of this is to just get the assets in an audit for you to look at the scope of the work that you're doing, but also to start thinking about how long stuff will take. Because you may be working 10 hours a day, but you want to have a general idea of how long this will take overall, as opposed to just brute forcing the hours for it. Even if you just do it for a few assets, because that will help scope you in as well. It'll give you more context as well for what you're doing. So let's say building tavern, right? This big one with the roof. You have a few options here. It depends how organized you want to be, for how much you break down stuff. So, for example, for each asset, you can have blockout, and you can make this green, or you can just put yes, and then you've blocked out everything. And then modular kit or blockout phase 2, because right now your blockout is BSP kind of crashed into each other, right? Or it looks like, right? Or base geometry. You need to have a clean blockout. So maybe that's blockout phase 2, right? So maybe we could call this blockout P1, blockout P2. And at P2, this is where it's clean, it's modular, it's pretty much ready for production. You know, you can break that down into whatever you want, right? You can have as many here as you want. Don't have too many though, because after a while that it gets into producer territory. Because producers do this in industry, but you still having a good idea of how long stuff takes is a skill that you will learn by doing this. And then you kind of go into, most of this looks like it'll be tileables. So you could go into game resolution, game ready, you know, whatever you want to call it. And then textured, whatever you want to call it there, like 4 or 5 sections. There's loads of things you could put here for it. But one thing you want to put as a must is time. So, or estimate. This is really important. So you're probably not going to track how long it's actually going to take. It's just on that scale of planning, it's just way too much for an artist to do. A producer does it. But you can absolutely track 1 or 2 assets and work on your time. Because that's what we do in a job, right? We'd be like, hey, we need you to go light this or make this thing. How long is it going to take? And you'd say, 4 days, 4 work days. You can probably do it in 3, but you say 4 and you deliver it in 3, 3.5, latest 4. That's about the scope of it usually. Like, it really depends. Like, you'll have a producer help you out with time estimates. But if you can just do it on a few assets, you'll be good. You'll also get a good idea of how long stuff is actually going to take with your estimates. So let's say the dock, right, takes you 2 hours to make a modular bit for that, 2 for that. For the building, maybe that's 16. Building tower, maybe that's 10. And basically what's going to happen is you go through every single asset and you just roughly sort of think about the hours it's going to take to get it ready and implemented. And then you just sort of add that up at the end. Got how you sum, I think. Basically, you just add all of these up. So, and then you look at it and you think, okay, shit, that's a lot. That's a lot more than I thought. Because overscope is the number one thing that every person is going to run into. Even game studios run into overscope. That's why a lot of game studios close, because management, right? Stuff is overscoped all the time. So it's a very real problem in just game dev as a whole. So if we say, let's say this was the case of here, you're at 92 hours for these assets, not involving lighting and this and that. And then you can convert that with some more math, right? You can convert like what's 92 divided by 8-hour days and vice versa. And very quickly you're going to find it's going to take a lot of time to reach where you want to reach. But if you don't have that, you don't have any sort of strong foundation for what your scene is going to be. So I always recommend with your block out, you have something like this. This obviously is very bare bones because we just demoed it here. You have something like that for every asset. And maybe some people like to use Notion, because Notion you can make something that you can click into, like click into every asset and you can see a picture of it. Or you can do it on Miro. You can put the asset name and put the image next to Miro if you want to stay on the same thing. But yeah, having context for how many things are in your level, how many assets, how many textures you're going to need, that's the sort of strong planning you need going into this. So refine your block out, put some colors on it, get some base colors on it, get some red colors on the blockades, make your asset list, estimate the hours roughly. Track 1 or 2. You won't track every single one, but let's say you work on the house. Track how long it actually takes you to see if you beat your estimate or not. Work out how long your planned estimate is for this. Like, oh, this is actually going to take me 4 months if I work 10-hour days and vice versa. And once you get past the block out, as Nathan was saying earlier, pick a corner and just really make that look good. And then once you've proven that as a visual concept, go and put the rest of the work into the rest of the level. that is the sort of lowest risk for what you've got on this big project. Does that make sense? Wait 40 seconds. YouTube's like seconds back. Awesome. Yeah, cool project though. I like it. I like the feel of it already with how you're running around. But yes, that will be the key for a big scene like that because it's very big, very big. So that'll be the recommended strategy moving forward. Looking forward to seeing that develop, especially if there's some updated shots next week in the stream from. Problem, no problem. Good stuff. Keep it up. So I know Matty is probably going to be away, but he can watch the VOD afterwards. So Matty is converting his skill set to games, but he is a Houdini wizard. Absolute Houdini. So I've never heard of Figma. Like Miro, but with different controls. So I believe Matty is working on something like this, like a small section. I can't really comment on the Houdini stuff. I don't really know Houdini, but it amazes me every time. Like literally doing all the assets with Houdini, which is cool. So the main focus on this one, as we've been speaking, is like refining the block out, not rushing too much. So I know that before you're kind of working on props in isolation and putting them together, which is, a typical thing, right? You work as a prop artist as opposed to environment artist, but I know that you've already aligned your feedback to work on the bigger picture and the block out and have it in Unreal. So that's already pretty good. But yeah, like your asset work is really good. Your Houdini work is great. We just need to make sure, I think the feedback we've been developing over time is that your assets are game ready and they have optimal topology, which we're doing with the squid. And the same advice I gave to Lee as well. Color sample some of this stuff from the reference and put it on your block out straight away. Getting some color on your block out will really help with Lumen, especially. It's going to bounce off those surfaces. Keep doing what you're doing with the high to low poly assets. And leave your latest shots. So this was your mirror that you're planning on. But your latest shot is... Maybe this is your latest shot. You'll have to let me know in the morning. But for this, I would just be wary how dark stuff gets. So it's quite dark at the moment. And when stuff is dark, it's hard to see the materials. Like me on the webcam, I don't have a key light yet, and my light isn't on, so I'm pretty hard to see. It's probably for the better because I'm ugly. But you want to be able to see stuff, so you probably want to bring up. You got two options. You can make a temporary level with daytime lighting so that your assets are balanced, because you don't want to balance your assets to dark lighting. It creates a lot of bad habits. So you test the assets there, and then they'll work in the dark. The second one is you just lift up your lighting values a little bit. The carpet is a little bit blurry. We'll talk about texel density in the next few weeks, but we want to make sure that texel density is consistent. And for the window as well, I like where it's going, but it feels a little bit too soft. So I would revisit this window with the reference it's meant to be, and let's do a comparison and see how they look. Because the it looks too sort of blobby in how it's been booleaned out. So we'll need to have a revisit of that as well. The squids are very glowy. Just make sure they're not glowy. Anything that is bright is going to detract from value. See you in a bit, Nathan. Thanks for chilling, bro. And we need to figure out a good camera shot. At the moment, the camera here is a bit wide. We probably want to go maybe a bit higher, 50mm, 40mm maybe. But let's try and refine what we want our camera angle to be. But I think you know as well that we're going to be in the block art a bit longer because we want to lock in a really good block art before we can do all the juicy stuff. So you're already on the right tracks with it. So just keep iterating away on the camera and the block out, and you'll be good. It's good progress as well. Good progress as well. What time are we at? 20 minutes left. They go fast. They go fast. Just double check on the Discord. 20 minutes left on stream if there's any. Yeah, if anyone's got a whip project they want to throw up, the Discord is still the Patreon Discord is still small yet humble. So we've kind of given the feedback for now on that, from what I can see. So if anyone has something they want to post up, happy to have a look. If not, I will carry on with zooming around and figuring out Blender stuff and relight stuff. Yeah, been cool, man. It's been cool. Been good first stream. My throat is definitely gonna hurt. This saves as a VOD on. I can revisit the YouTube and the stream settings to match it towards match it to which is bitrate. Red Mad Cat overpowering. Proper folder. Proper folder. Put it here. Blender.blend. Definitely need to change. If I'm going to use the Blender hotkeys, absolutely change middle mouse button and alt around. Don't know how much that's going to affect. Hurts my finger doing that. I actually read once that hitting middle mouse button not good for you as clicking it in. Something to do with the way it's yes, carpal tunnel inducing. But people say use a Wacom. Use a Wacom to model. I could not imagine doing that. Or a vertical mouse. Vertical mouses are pretty good. I used to use one, but they have quite a big learning curve. uh it's sleepy. Ugh. Okay, Blender key map, tab for pie menu. Yes, I remember that. Middle mouse to pan. Maya. Just need to set Alt 8. No. I was seeing if I could just use the Blender hotkeys, but change one or two things. So I was looking for the ability to change Alt, holding Alt, left click to rotate. But my brain is going to mush. Just Google. Eight. Fuck. Yeah, I had it set up months ago. I could just double click and get an edge loop, all that sort of stuff. But I didn't have any of those settings saved. If I still have my old preference. Hmm. Yep. We'll see there. Maybe I'll commit. Commit. I can change Alt and middle mouse. That'll be the main. The rest I can get. I do like the tab menu. I remember I used to use the tab menu. Maya. Or to go modes. F to zoom in with industry key map. What's zoom into selection? Usually F in Maya. Hotkey tab up. I struggle. You can watch me struggle through it for 15 minutes. All right. Numpad is so far away from me. Might keybind that to mouse free. Got 2 mouse buttons free. Um, oh no, I mean on selection. So is numpad full stop. Things I barely use numpad, so I'm probably going to remap that to mouse free, most likely. And then next week, once I've got my hotkeys sorted, we'll probably start making some texel density stuff. Yeah, I'll probably need this cheat sheet. That'll probably be helpful. I'm going to do a lot of this learning off stream as well, so I'm not as potato. I'll still be potato, but at least I'll be able to navigate around a bit more. All that good stuff. If you're wondering, tomorrow's video is we're looking at Black Myth Wukong. Some pretty cool breakdowns on why they do the things they do. Just got to edit the final bits of it. So let's see. Key binding. I used to have wireframe on mouse 5 as well. Yeah. So let's just rework some of that. I say I've learnt Blender a few times. I've been able to do stuff in it. I've always forgot. It's like HTML, but with me not having a Maya license now, because it was with the old job, this will be the full committance of time. Stuff. I am in 2 minds of just. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Even Blender in college. That's good. Good. I used Lightwave in college. Most people don't even remember what Lightwave is. Yeah, Lightwave 3D. Something else. There's something else. Yeah, I'll be off soon as well, Thomas. See you in a bit, bro. Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos for Cinema 4D still, to be honest. Especially how like hard surface modelers. Menu. Pie menu. Covers pie menu. Yeah, I agree. I have like some go-to modeling challenges, very basic stuff. Once I decide what hotkeys I'm going to use. Oh, it was a long time ago, man. That was like 2012, 13 years ago. It was a very different time. Yeah, it was a very different time in game dev. No PBR, bake lighting into diffuse maps, specular maps. Topology didn't change that much, to be honest. Topology is still really the same. Texture size has gotten a bit, obviously, a bit larger. PS Home was basically like working on PS2. 007 Legends was Xbox 360 sort of style. So it had its challenges, but it was fun. See if I rendered still up on there. Yeah, so you get like I remember the spec maps were weird. We would do something to them. I'm not sure of what we did. I think we removed a certain channel from the spec maps for some reason. But all the spec maps ended up looking orange, like where my mouse is. And then this textile density on this is so scuffed. I don't think I even knew what text density was, especially game studios, right? But this would be all consistent here. Honestly, wireframes, like topology levels, really haven't changed that much. Like I know there's nanite and stuff like that. It's still not used everywhere. So you're still going to triangulate and optimize as much as you can in um, a lot of these studios, right? So you just work to whatever your sort of specs are. Hey Hassan, that's awesome, dude. Thanks very much. I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. I do have fun making them as well. Glad. Yeah, 007 Legends was a custom engine as well. So using custom engines is very different to using like an Unreal. So there's lots of different challenges at studios that you run into. And the PlayStation Home really was it was quite fun. You know, every project was like 2 months long, so it's pretty quick. You get to use a lot of assets from other studios and develop them and optimize them, as well as making your own for certain things. I had a lot of fun working on these sort of social space games. So, but yeah, it's very very different. Like the engine was like PS2 engine, right? So because it's PlayStation Social, PlayStation Home, so it's got to run right. So yeah, good times, good times. 2011. Boy, oh boy, oh, it's a different time. Yeah, my PC downstairs, I think is like a GTX 10 1080, 16 gigs of RAM. It's okay, but it's by today's standards, it's really old. You know, you need an RTX nowadays to do most things. For well, to do most things with games, right? Um, but you can still model without it. But if you're gonna start using ray tracing and stuff, yeah, you probably need to upgrade, right? So clouds. But no, PlayStation 9 was fun. We had it was weird though. We had to set dress on the controller. It was really awkward using an analog stick to set dress compared to a mouse. I can't remember the reason why we had to do it, but we had to use the controller for set dressing specifically because it was linked to the actual dev kit. It was really scuffed. Trying to level something on the floor with an analog stick, I was like, oh man, this is a special kind of pain. It's all good fun. Look back and smile at these memories. Any memories you make in game dev or on your education, you know, cherish them. Good to go after that. Well, right to go. 10. As the first official stream, mostly was setting up a chat, a lot of questions, which was awesome. Um, that'll be really good on the VOD. Obviously, video coming out tomorrow. Black Myth Wukong. Next stream is next Thursday. Hotkeys will be set. We'll be doing some modeling and answering any questions again. This was the first day streaming and testing out streaming and multi-streaming. I'll go back and look at the feedback from the videos, but also look at the quality and see what is what needs to be changed so that next week runs even better. But yeah, my throat is shot, so this will be a learning process for me. Thanks for showing up. It's been cool. You guys are awesome. See you around on the Discord if you are on there as a Patreon. If not, I'll see you around on the channel and social media. But yeah, look out for tomorrow's video. It'll be coming. Peace.